Hello, family, and welcome to another episode of Role Model Makers Experts Cafe. I'm your host, Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer. And today with me, I have an amazing lady, Dr. Sheila Thomas. I said that right? I just wanted to make sure. Uh, Dr. Sheila has been part of our community and she serves families, and we would love for her to kind of shed some light on her topic, tell you why it's important. So I'm looking forward to having her here. Dr. Sheila, thank you for being here. Welcome to the show, and audience members, thank you for tuning in. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you got connected to doing what you do? And we'll go from there.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ill. As you mentioned, my name is Dr. Sheila Thomas. I am titled, you're the parent whisperer, and I call myself the parent partner.
Mm,
I'm titled the parent partner because with my business, I partner with parent, equipping, educating them how to advocate for their children at home, how to build a solid literacy and math foundation at home, and everything about positive parenting in order to make a better connection between parents in the school, parents and their children, and in turn, this will help their children to be successful in school. Why did I begin this journey of being a parent partner? It's because, first of all, I've been educated for over 33 years now. I'm retired educated, but still do some things in the educational realm as supervising student teachers, teaching classes when necessary. But what happened years ago, I was working at a technical college and working with daycare providers as well as my teachers, my pre-service teachers for daycare providers. And I was also what we have in Georgia called a Bright from the Start trainer. And that is the trainer who goes around to various daycares in Georgia, giving them educational tools and strategies to work with the students. And so I had an epiphany that said, who's training the parents? So I decided at that point, which was about 12, 15 years ago, that I would write a course or curriculum for parents. The reason being is because we're teaching teachers how to work with students, but parents leave out of the hospital with this baby and like, what am I to do with this child? And of course, we're nurturers, moms are nurturers, dads do what they do. And so I wanted to be able to give parents the skill sets that I've learned as a parent, as well as the educational knowledge I've gained as a college professor, as an educator for 32 years in the classroom, and intertwine all that to help them build that solid foundation again at home. So over the years, I started writing my curriculum and I started writing books and just got an opportunity during COVID to really put it all together. And now I have my course called PACES, Parents Advocating for Their Child's Educational Success. And I have 8 modules that I go out and teach to schools and churches and the community, wherever I'm needed to help parents be great.
I remember when my first child was born, they told us, all right, you can leave the hospital. I'm like, wait, I don't even know how to wash this thing. And then the nurse came and showed us like, this is how you do it. Boom, 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 done. And I'm like, I still don't feel like I know it.
Yes, yes, yes.
And uh, that's the funny thing, because when you talk about training educators and teachers, um, they're already trained professionally to deal
Exactly.
with kids.
Mhm.
Parents are not, and yet there's very little or any standard for that matter. So it's really amazing. Something as essential for the propagation of our species is so unaddressed basically by the community. And in the past, we used to have several generations, and there was this community that would support and help. But nowadays, parents are feeling more and more stressed out and being pulled in many different directions. So really appreciate and thank you for what you do. And for many of our parents out there that are being pulled in many different directions and trying to do their best and filled with self-doubt, this is a person that you want to connect with for sure. So you're in the right place. So Dr. Sheila, what are some of the challenges that you have seen over the years that parents come to you struggling with or say are the issues?
Well, mainly just like you said, knowing exactly how to support their children. And I'm stating when they're in school, how to be an advocate. A lot of parents, when I was educated in the school system, would be timid about coming out to the schools to discuss issues, not just necessarily bad issues, but anything to communicate the needs of their child. For instance, my sons were both very musical, and they would tap on the desk, a lot. And the teacher would call me and they won't stop tapping or they're humming and singing. So what I do in my coursework is I teach parents to understand the multiple intelligences or how a child learns. My sons are very musical. And if you can relay that to the teacher to say, I understand he's tapping on the desk. He does play percussion. He's a percussionist. Not saying that it's okay for the child to tap on the desk, that helps the teacher to now understand who that child is.
Right.
Even social skills. If a parent can share with the teacher, hey, my son is kind of social and inept. He doesn't really like being around other children. He may be kind of quiet. A lot of teachers may say, well, something's wrong with Johnny. He's not talking, but it may be just because he's quiet.
Right.
What needs parents need to help teachers understand is the culture of that child.
Right.
In culture, I mean all things about their home environment, whether it's a single parent, whether, your ethnicity, whatever it may be, a parent needs to be able to articulate that to the child. But what I'm seeing is a lot of parents are not understanding that this is important. And my issue, especially like an area where I live, South Georgia, parents won't take hold to get the information that they need. And so that's becoming a challenge for me. And it's a challenge for the school systems to really get parents engaged, to get the knowledge they need to be a positive parent. And it doesn't mean they don't love their children, don't nurture their children. It's that they just don't understand, first of all, about parenting, who they are.
Right.
As you mentioned before, generations change, things change. And many of the things my mom did, and she was a great parent, but there are some things I've done differently as a parent than what my mom has done. There are some things I've done differently with my 3 sons. I have a bonus son of 36. I have a 32-year-old, and then I have an 18-year-old. So I'm doing things totally different with my 18-year-old than what I did with my 32-year-old. So that's a lot of the changes that I see. Communication, parents communicating with their children. That is the key to successful parents. Communication, and it entails 80% listening and 20% talking.
Right. I love that. Actually, there are 2 gems right here. I know you actually talked about a lot of things, but there are 2 gems that I really resonated with. One is recognizing that there are many intelligences and seeing those in your child. And sometimes it's easy to kind of really bring about something that the kids are good at, but then we also need to make sure that we support them in other areas that they might be struggling in those intelligences, and make sure that we empower them. So that was really, it resonated with me. The other part was communication and the 80-20 thing that you mentioned. Many of us as parents have problems and challenges with communication to begin with. And inadvertently, we kind of pass this on to our kids, and we don't know where to start. And I think what you just mentioned, that 80% of it is listening and making sure that you do that, especially with the kids, that you actually don't just hear them, but you actually have listened to them and you express that you have heard them, and they express back to you that they feel heard, is essential before moving forward on having dialogue with them. And I think that's a big part of teenage challenges, where nobody seems to be listening to anybody, and everybody's kind of struggling for their sense of identity within the family as a result of it. All right, so, and I know that you mentioned even more stuff. So what would be your 1 or 2 tips? One of the other things, actually, now that it's coming to me, is parents taking the initiative, right? As opposed to the teachers and the school and everybody else is trying to figure out how to fill in the gaps in this child's development. What is like 1 or 2 tips that you can share with our busy parents that they can actually go ahead and implement immediately after this and move forward with their family?
One of the biggest tips, well, I have to, is I love to talk about love languages as well. we as parents need to tap into our child's love language and understand what makes them click, or tick. For instance, if a child is one who loves physical touch, we need to give that to the child. If he's a hugger, hug him or her, even though you may not like it, but give it to them. My son, on the other hand, my 18-year-old, he wants his space. He would tell you, no, don't, I don't like it. He may give me a little side hug, but what he likes is quality time. He wants to come and share something to me. He's a teenager. He have those days where he wants to talk. And then like today, he, didn't feel like talking. And we as parents have to understand that. We have to give children space and understand that they have feelings too. So we have to tap into their love language and to their emotions. And then the biggest tip of all is start young with your children with reading. That is the key. And then once they become good readers, make sure they continue that. Make sure they become good readers and writers. And in order to do that, we have to model that for our children. So we need to read to them as soon as they're in the womb. And when they're born, build their libraries and share with them stories every day. Make that a part of your daily routine, reading to your sons or daughters, and let that continue all the way through school and continue it middle school and high school. Because what happens is, and I'm almost finished, is a lot of parents, when the children get into high school, they kind of say, well, they're on their own, they have it. But that is the time when a child really needs you. Again, my senior this year, he's trying to feel his way to begin college, and so he needs me to be there to support him, to help him with these last few months. It's hard. He's a good student, but it's hard for him. So continue to be engaged with your children all the way through high school and even in college as well.
I love it. I love it. Actually, I have two personal stories with both of the points that you mentioned. The first one about the love languages, especially for audience members that might not know about love languages, uh, definitely look into that. But one of the things that we did with our children a few years back, they were little, but we gave them this 3x5 cards, like what's your favorite food and what's your favorite hobby and so on and so forth. But one of the questions was, I feel loved when, and it was dot, dot, dot. And we wanted to know and get an insight as to what is their love language. And my son wrote that I feel love when you guys tickle me. So we knew that that was a physical touch thing,
Yes.
right? And so to this day, even though now he's almost a teenager, like it's a perfect immediate connecting. It doesn't have to be like hours and hours of time spent with a person. Something as simple as a little tickle or a little nudge, that kind of a thing immediately fills his cup. My daughter, it was more of a personal time with mommy, so we knew that it was quality time. So sometimes just literally sitting down and looking at eye level to them, quality time, done, you've been seen. So that was one part of it. The other part is about your second point about reading and how essential it is. My grandma used to say there are two things that if your children, you get them into the habit of doing, they're set for life. One of them was exercise and physical fitness. And the other one was become a reader, basically, and that love of reading, basically. So if you get these two things into your kids before they turn teenagers, you're going to have a wonderful kid and you're going to have a wonderful relationship with them.
Right.
Absolutely.
I love the exercise tip. Yeah, I wish I had learned that earlier.
So, Dr. Sheila, I know that you are a wealth of knowledge, your experience and everything. What is a good way for people to connect with you or find out more about you?
The best way to connect with me would be on my webpage, drsheila.thomas.com. That's Dr. DRSHEILA Thomas, THOMAS.com. On my website is a plethora of information about my courses. I have courses for school systems. Like I said, my PACES course is for school systems and for anyone in the community, for your churches. I would love to support that. I also have another course that's called Raising Brilliant Black and Brown Boys.
Ooh,
And it's a course. Of course, I'm a mom who raised brilliant Black and brown boys. So I decided to write that course and streamline it, niche down to it, because of the struggles in society that our Black and brown boys have. And I want to dismantle this myth that our boys are going from school to prison. So I'm here to give parents all the things that I've learned as a parent, the things I've done well and the things that I have not done well. I share all these tips in this 4-module course. It's going to be it is a standalone course, an evergreen course out there that parents can take. And so that course is there. On my website are also my products. And I'm also an author. I didn't mention that, but I'm also an author of several books. I've written 3 for children. On my book, JR's Biggest Fan. I have it here. I have to show it. This book here, JR's Biggest Fan, it's a book I wrote about my sons and how, as a mom, I always supported them with the every endeavor. But if they were to make a mistake, I always gave this affirmation: son, don't give up. I know you can. I'll always be your biggest fan. That's repeated throughout the story, till at the end they found something amazing that they love to do. And it's a true story. And a spinoff from that was a coloring book called Yes, I Can. So it's a coloring book with I can statements for kids. Can't find it. But it has I can statements for kids in there. And then another book I have called Mommy's Little Sunshine, which is another book about a mother's love for her sons and how he's a little sunshine. And then finally, I have a book called Wait, Women Anticipating Incredible Turnaround, which is a story about various things that happened in my life. Some of them are turbulent, but I'm very transparent about these stories because I want people to understand that you can't give up. Trust God, pray and read scriptures, and He will give you that incredible turnaround. And it has really helped a lot of women to feel better about themselves and to just have that incredible turnaround and persevere. So yeah, my website.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm going to put all of Dr. Sheila's information in the description box. As we've mentioned, one of the things that we have to role model for our kids is connecting to experts, connecting to resources, connecting to answers, connecting for support. And they need to understand that they're not alone. They don't need to have all the answers. And there are plenty of people in this world that have their best interests at heart, that want to support them, and that they just need to reach out, so that they don't feel disconnected in this otherwise global and super connected world that they find themselves more and more isolated. We need to role model the behavior, right? So make sure that you connect to Dr. Sheila with the details that I've put in the description box. And if you haven't hit subscribe, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you get notifications of the latest experts, the gifts and the expertise that they bring to the show. Dr. Sheila, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here, share your knowledge and wisdom. And I'm going to be sure to reach out to take more of your time and your knowledge and your wisdom for the Play Expo. And I definitely want to make sure that we include the children's books for the children's library, as well as the book, the information for the parents resource directory. So please reach out to me, and I would love to have that information out to our parents soon as well. Any final words for our audience members before we finish today?
Just parents, remember that you're not alone on this journey. It is an ongoing, on-the-job journey. You learn something new every day, and just continue to do your best. Main thing is love on your child. No, first, love on yourself. Love on yourself. Give yourself some grace every day. And then give your children affirmations every day that you love them, that you cherish them, that they're the best and they can do it. And they will be successful, and so will you. Happy parenting.
Well said. Well said. Thank you, Dr. Sheila. Thank you guys for joining us. Until next time. Cheers.
Thank you for tuning in.